Hi. I finished my first book for the year, and I was not disappointed. I like to imagine that's a good omen for 2021. The book was Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. I know, you never thought I was going to finish it, did you? You can be honest, I know. It took me forever, so that's fair. But it is January now, so it's time to get back into real life. And it's time to read good again. I've been so excited about this book. Ever since it was announced, I pre-ordered it immediately. I really loved The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I read it in 2020 and it was one of my favorite books of the year. I just couldn't wait to see what else this author was going to put out since that was his first and only book. I wanted to know if he was going to be making more stuff for me. It's so nice finding a new author. It's one of the best feelings. It's also nice when they have a backlog, but it's fine. I'm not complaining that much. I'm not complaining that much. The premise of the book is this. Let me see if... Ooh, my lights. That is longer than I wanted it to be. Let's see. I'll do the one that I have written up here. It's 16... Oh, what? This is the one that was on the back of the... It's 1634, and Samuel Pepys, the world's greatest detective, is being transported to Amsterdam to be executed for a crime he may or may not have committed. Traveling with him is his loyal bodyguard, Arent Hayes, who's determined to prove his friend innocent. Among the other guests is Sarah Wessel, a noblewoman with a secret. But no sooner is their ship out to sea than devilry begins to blight the voyage. A strange symbol appears on the sail. A dead leper stalks the decks. Livestock dies in the night. And then the passengers hear a terrible voice whispering to them in the darkness, promising 3 unholy miracles, followed by a slaughter. First, an impossible pursuit. Second, an impossible theft. And third, an impossible murder. Could a demon be responsible for their misfortunes? With Pip imprisoned, only Arent and Sarah can solve a mystery that stretches back into their past and now threatens to sink the ship, killing everybody on board. Cool, right? I know. I was also pretty into it. This was 453 pages of genre mashup madness, which is what I loved about his first book. So if this is his thing, I am into it. One of my favorite parts of this book was actually the afterword by the author, which is not usually the case in books, but this time, that afterword was really good. He titled it An Apology to History and Boats. In it, he's basically saying, here, let me pick a few parts. I believe a book is whatever you decide it is. The sights, the smells, the characters. Everything you believe about them, you're right. That's why I love books. No 2 readers are the same, which means no 2 readings are the same. I love that. Anyone who is in a book club or watches review videos knows that 2 people can read the exact same book and take completely different things away from them. It goes on to say how a great example of this is the character of Arent. He was not intended to be sexy, but a lot of people envision sexy Arent. My brain gave me a roughed up seafaring version of The Rock, so apparently I was on Team Sexy Arent. Anyways, then he goes on to talk about that thing in his books that I couldn't quite put words to, so it was really good to have the author lay it out for me. Here. Equally, I don't like pinning a genre to my stories. The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, my prior book, was variously described as a golden age mystery, a metaphysical sci-fi novel, a modern fantasy, and a horror. In every instance, they were right. It was their book, so it could be whatever they damn well pleased. Love it. When people ask me about Evelyn Hardcastle, because I'm always saying how much I love it, it's really hard to recommend or to explain because it doesn't fit into one genre. And it's just so weird. And then the rest of the afterword is the actual point of the afterword. He says that the only genre he's afraid of this book being put into are historical fiction and boat books, which is difficult because it technically is both of those things. But he willfully ignored details and accuracy for the story. So he's basically saying, don't come at me. I know already. Just don't. This is quite a long-winded way of saying, please don't send me critical letters about proper rigging techniques on galleons or women's fashion in the 1600s, unless they're super interesting facts that you want to share. I love a good fact. So I appreciate that he didn't expect me to know about or care about boats. I mean, I care a little because boats are cool, but I know nothing about boats. I'm a landlubber. I put $5 in my jar for this one, which is my rating system this year. $5 is 5 stars. And this reflects how the book was for me. On a more critical level, it would probably be more of a 4-star read, but it checked so many of my boxes, and I had such a fun and good experience reading it that for me, even with the flaws that I can see, I still loved it enough to give it all 5 of my dollars. If I am pitting his 2 books against each other, I still like Evelyn Hardcastle more. But I think that Devil will appeal to a wider audience than Evelyn Hardcastle did. Something interesting in this book that I loved was that even though the book is set in the 1600s, he gave the women agency and he let them be main characters with brains, actual brains, and real lines, and the things they did mattered. He didn't pretend that the horrific sexism and general horribleness to women wasn't there, but he did it in a way that didn't suck. I found the characters, even though there were quite a few of them, easy to keep track of. The story was complicated, but not convoluted. And it's got that same supernatural element to it that Evelyn Hardcastle had. I love this because on one hand, we've got our logical Sherlock Holmes character who doesn't believe in demons. On the other hand, however, if you've experienced Turton's writing before, you know that he isn't against there being that supernatural element to the story, so it very well could be a demon. Knowing that there's always that chance keeps you guessing, and it just kind of added to the story. I was looking forward to having a super detective story, and I was pretty bummed out when he was immediately locked away in boat jail for the majority of the story. It makes sense, and in hindsight, I can understand why it was that way. And Aaron and Sarah as amateur detectives together was wonderful. I thought it was going to be super genius Sammy with his big butt-kicking sidekick, solving crimes. And so while I was a little bit put off by the change from that expectation at first, I did get over it pretty quick, and I enjoyed the story the way it was told. That being said, if you are going into this one hoping for a Sherlock Holmes or a Hercule Poirot sort of book, I do think that it will still scratch that specific itch, but you won't be getting exactly that. So yeah, I loved it, and I think it is absolutely worth your time to pick up, if anything I said sounds good to you. And I would love to know what you thought of the book, so please comment down below and let me know. So that's going to be it for my spoiler-free review. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. It helps me grow and makes me feel very happy. Come back and join me again tomorrow if you are looking for a spoiler review of this book. So for any of you who have read it and want to know my actual thoughts on points in the book and a lot more detail, but definitely including spoilers, come back. It's going to be a lot of fun. And the ending. We'll talk about the ending. So yeah, see you next time. Bye. Ugh. Stay. What the hell? You were just fine a second ago. What? Did I break it? Oh! Okay, well now, I don't know what I'm gonna do, guys. Oh shit, it's all falling apart. Could a demon be responsible for their Could a demon be what? If you fall down, I swear to God.